Okay, let's start with, we're gonna go to question 2 now. It's 2023 July Torts question 2. And again, I'm doing this for the baby bar students that are here. What products liability claims may Paul bring against Dishway? We have P for plaintiff, D for defendant, and they're saying products liabilities claims. So they're being very specific, which is kind of interesting. I wouldn't think that you can get through a whole essay on just products liability. So I'm assuming I'm going to have to discuss manufacturing defect, whether it was something off the assembly line that was wrong, whether it was design defect, whether it was a failure to warn, any kind of defenses that might go with that. Because those are the only 3 things they could possibly test on, because they just said it.
Sorry, Jason, what question you said, Jason? I'm sorry.
We're on question number 2, 2023 July, and I put the link in the description there. Okay, so Dishway developed a new dishwashing powder that it named Ultra Clean. Okay, the company advertised widely that Ultra Clean was a revolutionary safe product with the most powerful cleaning agent ever. Okay, they do say that it's safe, so I would assume doesn't mean safe to eat, it means safe to use to clean your clothes. Most powerful cleaning agent ever. Okay, I think that's more fluff. The advertisement accurately represented that Ultra Clean contained a new cleaning agent that made the product more effective than other dishwashing powders. I don't know how you can compare that, but okay, but it does say accurately represented. So I assume they must have tested it in order to figure that out. All right, so nothing going on in the first paragraph, at least, just setting up the background information. Dishway knew the cleaning agent could cause severe stomach pain if ingested. Well, I mean, is that something you really need to warn about? Like, who's going to swallow, who's going to eat dishwashing detergent? I mean, if kids do it, then that's really kind of half like on the parents' fault too for comparative negligence. And comparative negligence does, comparative fault, if you will, does actually factor into strict liability as well. But this is true of all detergent products, of course. So did you warn about that? Let's see, maybe a warning, because you probably just want to put a warning on it, because people, you really can never underestimate the power of stupidity. What Dishway did not know was that a potentially dangerous amount of Ultra Clean residue tended to remain on aluminum cookware after a wash cycle. Also, for some reason, when it said dishwashing powder, I've had a feeling that this was laundry detergent. I don't know why I got that confused. That's what I initially thought. I'm glad they got that out of there. Okay, so did not know. Okay. Did not know. What Dishway did not know was that a potentially dangerous amount of Ultra Clean residue tended to remain on aluminum cookware after a wash cycle. Oh, wow, they didn't know that. Huh. Surprised they didn't test it. It is not unusual for Dishway powders to leave a harmless amount of residue on different surfaces. Makes sense, probably happens a lot. During product development, Dishway tested Ultra Clean on some surfaces, but not on aluminum, because there was no indication that it would work differently on aluminum than other surfaces. I mean, you're still going to be negligent for not doing that, because would a reasonable manufacturer do that? I mean, that's what I would think. The residue was not detected to the eye, so you can't see it. And there was no flaw in their manufacturing process. So what they've done is they've eliminated manufacturing defects right off the bat. Does everyone see that? So no manufacturing defects. Clearly, this is design defect or possibly a failure to warn, but you can't really warn about something you don't know, but that's on them to not know. They should have known it. Dishway's instructions on the product only stated that the product should not be ingested. So that was the only warning given. Okay, so they failed to warn about the aluminum, but how could they warn about something they don't know? Should they have known? Probably. Is there a design defect? So can you make this product any safer without, making it less powerful and at a relatively effective cost? Because that's the whole, for design defects, it's really just a cost benefit analysis. Because what you're doing is, and it's also a disguised negligence learned at hand formula. What's the utility of the harm? What's the magnitude of the harm? What's the cost of making it safer? So these are all factors that you want to consider. And because this is such a very limited essay in terms of the scope of the issues, you're really going to have to go into a real big discussion about cost, utility, what I say, magnitude of harm, and I would really beat up all these the likelihood of harm. Okay. And any other factors that I would think of as I go through. Again, they say that it's the most powerful and effective dishwashing powders, so that would go to the utility. The cost we have no way of knowing right now, so we have to kind of go through our own analysis, like how much they're selling it for, what's their margins, how can they make it safer, what would be the cost. Let's see here. What's the magnitude? I mean, it says severe stomach pain, there's the magnitude, but how likely is that as well? Okay, let's see here. Where am I? Paul purchased a box of Ultra Clean from Dishway. Now, Paul is Paul's in privity with Dishway because he's the purchaser. But as we know from the McPherson case, I think in 1919 or 1929, that for products liability, privity is not required. Privity is only required when you make warranties. So if I make an express warranty to you, you actually have to be the purchaser of the car or the purchaser of the product. I'm not making an express warranty to any of the users or bystanders. That's why the law eventually gradually developed from implied warranty of merchantability into products liability, because products liability does not require privity. So if a bystander gets hurt, if a user and somebody who did not purchase the product, that's all privity means. That means you're in a contractual relationship as the purchaser. But there's no privity required for products liability. I would bring that up. So the first time Paul used it to wash some aluminum pots. And aluminum is, now that I think about it, how frequently do you use aluminum when you're, I mean, I've got some right there, and I just used it today, right? I mean, you use aluminum all the time.
I'm like, that's literally utensils. Literally the utensils you're to eat with.
Yeah. That's
literally why I'm like, you should have tested it.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't even process that, but now and that's why going through the essay multiple times, slowly and carefully, you'll start picking up on all these things. Why would you not test it on aluminum? That makes absolutely no sense. The next day, Paul used several of those pots to prepare a meal. Shortly after finishing the meal, he experienced severe stomach pain, which we knew was going to happen, which required him to be hospitalized. So it seems like the likelihood of harm is pretty likely because it happened 1 out of 1 times. Laboratory test results revealed the cleaning agent in Ultra Clean caused Paul's stomach pain. So causation, they're saying causation is satisfied. You don't even need to make that an issue. What products liability claim can they make? Okay, well, the advertisement. So let's go back and look at it here. There's the advertisement. So is that an express warranty? Is that an express warranty? Is that a misrepresentation? The advertisement said a revolutionary safe product. It's not safe. Clearly, it's not safe. So you might want to go into some type of, I wouldn't say it's an express warranty, but it is a misrepresentation. It would seem like that would be a misrepresentation because you were telling me it's safe and I got sick, severe stomach pain. That doesn't make it safe. So why they didn't test it on aluminum, that might go to a negligence analysis. And like, what would a reasonable manufacturer have done? I would go into a cost, utility, magnitude, likelihood of harm. Mostly this is just a design defect case. All right, I'm gonna have to look at it one more time. If you guys want to add some commentary, let's hear what you think.
Yeah, I talked about misrep, and then I talked about warranty merchantability too, just in the beginning, quick in and out. Just put into quotes. They said it's safe, but obviously it's not because Paul got sick. So that's that. And then
could give the warranty of the implied warranty of merchantability, because again, there is privity there, and so that would be, to me, the fact that he purchased it and he's the one who got hurt tells me that they want to have you discuss the privity requirements, and that would bring in the issues of the implied warranty of merchantability, fit for a particular purpose, because that all kind of is under the umbrella of products liability. And with the failure to warn, I'm having trouble with that. I mean, yes, they should have warned that. Or, I mean, how could you warn about something you don't know, which would kind of like divert into a negligence case? Let me know if I'm missing something. What do you guys think?
I argue that even though they weren't aware of it, they should have known because they were negligent by not testing this product on aluminum when most dish-related products are aluminum. your silverware, some of the products that you cook in. Most of them are aluminum. It's not like it's some random product that most dish items are not made of. So they should have known, should have known that their item was going to be used on aluminum products.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't test on aluminum. Did that strike anyone else as odd? Like, why are you not testing aluminum? That seems like the most frequently thing that gets cleaned. What do you got, Marissa?
Yeah, I'm curious, what do you think? So they talked about what products liability claims may Paul bring. But still, I'm mentioning the additional things that, you and Sanam are talking about, including I threw in a little just straight up negligence,
Yeah.
because the facts called for it.
Yeah, the facts do call for the negligence analysis, because one of the claims you can make is they're negligent, by under products liability. Technically, this strict liability, I wouldn't not discuss negligence just out of safety, even though they're limiting it to products liability. What my main discussion is going to be is the design defect and how they could make it safe at a reasonable cost without affecting the utility, because the magnitude of the harm and the likelihood of harm seems rather great. And I would really beat up that on a factual discussion and explain how, how frequent it is for aluminum to happen, how it was the first time, so obviously the likelihood of harm is there. What's the cost of, they should have done this testing, which makes no sense why they didn't. So I would explain why it's not a manufacturing defect, how it wasn't a production flaw or one-off. All of the products were intended to be designed like this. I would explain the failure to warn, that had they done the proper testing, they would have been able to warn properly about how it would contain. But even a warning wouldn't, I'll tell you one thing, a warning wouldn't do any good. You know why? Because you can slap a warning on a defective product and get yourself out of trouble. It doesn't work like that. So even I would discuss that under the warning, because even if they did know that the potentially dangerous amount of residue on aluminum cookware, the warning's not going to suffice to get them to exonerate them from liability. So I would discuss that under the failure to warn. Then I would probably go into a quick analysis about the implied warranty of merchantability, how they are somebody in the chain of commerce. They're obviously the manufacturer. So go ahead, Sanam, you want to add something?
Yeah, I was gonna say that after design defect, isn't there a quick negligence discussion?
I would absolutely do that.
Yeah. That's because they're literally pointing out causation and damages. It's like a quick in and out, but from every previous essay I've seen on products liability, it's too short to not. So it's design, and you talk about you're redipping within design defect. You can talk about causation and damages, and then you talk about negligence again right after it.
And also, one of the things that I mentioned previously, in all the essays that I've seen where they have tested products liability, it's always been with the selected answers have always included a negligence analysis, almost to my dismay and to my frustration in a sense, because I'm like, why are you doing that? But the examiners clearly are asking for it for a reason. And so that's why I would include negligence along with all the other claims. Okay, pretty interesting essay. Really not think, there's really not a lot of
what about the fact that under the risk utility, the factor that there's multiple other dish brands that are making this product safely? Why could they not make it safely?
Where do you see that?
No, it's just the fact that when I did my risk utility test, if they didn't, it's a quick in and out. I didn't go into too much depth with all of this, but the fact that if they're concerned about making this product safely because it's going to make the cost of it, there's multiple other dishwasher brands in the
but they're not as powerful, and that would be the utility. It's like you're taking away the what utility means in the cost utility benefit. Utility means the usefulness. How useful is this product? Well, it's more effective than any other dishwashing powders. They're making that accurate representation by saying that it's more effective. So with that additional power, maybe the residue is going to remain, which means that, well, you're going to kill the utility, but you can't make this any safer from that. Does anyone remember the McDonald's coffee cup case where the lady got burned with the coffee? Well, that was kind of a risk utility. They realized that the likelihood of people getting burned was extremely high. The magnitude of the burns were not as severe as that lady suffered, but they were pretty severe. And the utility was, the reason why McDonald's was doing that was because by brewing the coffee at a higher temperature, it gets more flavors from the beans, and they have more flavorful coffee, and they'll sell more coffee. So that's why McDonald's board of directors consciously chose to keep brewing coffee between 160 to 180 degrees, knowing they were going to burn people so they could sell more coffee. So it'd be a very similar comparison right here, which is kind of interesting. Okay, questions, comments, what else do you guys got? I mean, I would definitely read this fact pattern another 2 times before I would start writing anything, but I think we got it. But just because we're in the class right now, I'm going to forego that for the time being and move on to the next essay. How does that sound?